Join us as we explore Kangaroo Island, just off the coast of South Australia. Getting to Kangaroo Island is a short 45-minute trip on the Sea Link ferry from Cape Jervis on the Fleurieu Peninsula. Once the ferry docks at Penashore, we disembark and head to our first location, which is Emu Bay. If you're lucky, you'll get a visit from one of the local pelicans. And if you have any fish offcuts, they'll gladly take them off your hands. You can also head to the local boat ramp, where there are plenty more of these gentle giants. Emu Bay Lavender Farm is a working lavender farm with 12 different varieties of lavender. Make sure you bring your camera because you'll have plenty of Instagram-worthy photo opportunities. While you're here, make sure you visit the gift store and cafe for some great local produce. No trip to Kangaroo Island is complete without a visit to Seal Bay. Ironically, there are no seals in Seal Bay. It's actually home to the Australian sea lion. As you can see, it gets pretty windy even in summer, so you might want to have a jacket on hand. There are no enclosures or cages at Seal Bay. Instead, you'll be taken by one of the guides on a 45-minute tour along the beach. Australian sea lions are unique to South Australia and Western Australia. Their total population is about 12,000 and 85% of these live in South Australia. Seal Bay is the third largest colony. For safety reasons, you need to keep together and make sure you keep a distance of about 10 metres so the sea lions do not feel threatened by human presence. They have a lifespan of between 17 and 25 years. The boardwalk is a self-guided 900-metre stroll that meanders through limestone cliffs, and along the way you can stop at many of the viewing platforms. At the lower levels you can see a skeleton of a juvenile humpback whale that was washed up on the beach almost 40 years ago. The secluded Stokes Bay Beach is a hidden paradise waiting to be uncovered on Kangaroo Island's north coast. Access to the beach is via a gap in the rocks. This natural rock tunnel is sometimes referred to as the secret tunnel. If you didn't know it was there, you might just move on thinking that it was just all rocks, but trust us, you'll want to stick around. As you leave the tunnel, the beauty of the sandy beach will take your breath away. Part of the beach is protected from the surf by a natural barrier of rocks, making it safe and perfect for even the most timid swimmer. Throw on a snorkel and explore the rock pool. Easily spend an entire day here, it's so beautiful. Check the session times before arriving at Raptor Domain, as they do not display the birds in cages, instead they present them showing their natural behaviour. Raptor Domain delivers the only in-flight birds of prey display in South Australia. You'll get to meet an array of birds including a barn owl, barking owl, wedge-tailed eagle and a falcon. The centre has many orphan, injured and sick birds of prey come into their care each year. Unfortunately, not all birds are able to go back to the wild, so they are used as ambassadors to create awareness and appreciation. A great part of this experience is that members of the crowd can also put on a glove and experience the birds up close. The 1 hour show is well worth the visit. You can hire sandboards at the entrance to Little Sahara. Surf the dunes like a pro on a sandboard, or just sit down, hang on and slide on toboggans. The sand can be really soft in some spots, so don't drop your keys or phone, you'll never find them again. Little Sahara is a naturally occurring inland dune field, covering over 2 square kilometres of dunes of various sizes and steepness to suit all adventurers. You will get sand everywhere. It doesn't matter what your technique is like, the whole family will enjoy the experience. If you can't get the technique right, you can always just pose for a photo. The Kangaroo Island Wildlife Park is home to some of Australia's most well-known native animals. They also act as a wildlife rescue centre for animals like Archie here, who was orphaned when his mother was attacked by dogs. They have over 150 species of native Australian wildlife and over 600 animals. The park has dozens of species of birds ranging from large cassowaries, emus, right through to local parrots, penguins and colourful lorikeets. They even have an open area where you can hand feed grey kangaroos, agile wallabies and even a very unique albino kangaroo. Following on from the bushfires, they saw over 600 koalas, kangaroos, echidnas, goannas and possums come through in need of critical care for burns, dehydration and starvation. I'll have to fix this after the tour. The Cape Willoughby Lighthouse was originally known as the Sturt Light after the explorer Captain James Sturt. It was South Australia's first lighthouse and was officially opened in January 1852 and was manned 24 hours a day by 3 lightkeepers who lived here with their families. The Cape Willoughby Lighthouse was one of the last manned lighthouses in Australia. It became officially unmanned in 1992. After the tour, you're able to walk around the adjoining Cape Willoughby Conservation Park. Now it's time to fix that flat tyre. It's 75 kilometres back to the main town of Kingscote. A lot of it's dirt roads and we're going to be doing it on a Space Saver spare tyre. With the tyre fixed, we're now off to the quad bike Sunset Kangaroo Safari. The crew looks pretty excited. First of all, they'll get you started on the beginner track to get you used to the quad bike and the gears. Before you know it, we're on to the open track, heading to our first stop. Kangaroo Outdoor Adventures guarantees that you will see kangaroos. And at our first stop, you guessed it, kangaroos. We're off to our next spot where there's some eucalyptus trees that are home to koalas. Really game, there are some open areas where you can open up the throttle and pick up some speed. We're now entering the area which was devastated by the local bushfires. This is a real contrast to the areas we've been in and an eerie reminder of how much damage a bushfire can actually do. These grass trees grow about 1 centimetre a year, and it's estimated that this one is between 400 and 600 years old. Grass trees can survive bushfires due to the bark that protects them. This sandhill was named Prospect Hill by explorer Matthew Flinders. Prospect Hill stairs and outlook were upgraded in 2019 and there are approximately 500 steps to the top. Matthew Flinders climbed Prospect Hill on the 4th of April 1802 when navigating the north coast of Kangaroo Island to determine his bearings. Views from the top include panoramic views of Pelican Lagoon, Pennington Bay and Nepean Bay, all named by Matthew Flinders. South Australia's first settlement. This mulberry tree was the colony's first fruit tree and still bears fruit today. Reeves Point is the site where the first European settlement in South Australia was established. The first settlers arrived here in July 1836 aboard the Duke of York. Flagstaff Hill celebrates the memory of the first 4 ships to arrive at South Australia's first official settlement here at Reeves Point. During the early 1800s, salt was scraped from the surfaces of Muston Lake, White Lagoon and Salt Lagoon. Most of this was used for domestic purposes, meat preservation and the tanning of hides. Exports of salt from Kangaroo Island to Adelaide in 1843 amounted to 13 tonnes and by 1913 had increased to 20 tonnes. The Kangaroo Island Sculpture Trail was opened in July 2018 and offers original artwork in a beautiful natural setting. The trail is positioned on 4.5 hectares of dunes overlooking Hive Bay and is 1.5 kilometres in length, an easy walk but does have some steps. Dunes have been revegetated with over 1,000 trees and other native plants. Keep an eye out for the resident kangaroos and wallabies. This is the site of the original recreational bridge in 1920. 100 years later, it was commemorated with a new suspension bridge that stands here today. Island Beehive Visitor Centre runs guided tours to see the production factory where you can learn about Ligurian bees and honey production on Kangaroo Island. Kangaroo Island has the purest strain of Ligurian bees in the world. Once the tour is finished, you can sample the different flavours of honey that are produced on the island. There is one thing you have to buy from the cafe, and that's the famous Kangaroo Island homemade honeycomb ice cream. The houses known as Faith, Hope and Charity were the first permanent houses in the new settlement. Unfortunately, Faith was demolished in the 1920s, but the National Trust have restored and maintained Hope Cottage as a museum. Hope Cottage represents life from the 1860 onwards. Recreated lighthouse has the original Cape Willoughby light and dome. It was salvaged when the light was replaced at Cape Willoughby by a lightweight fiberglass lantern in 1974. The Hope Lighthouse has now become a feature of the skyline of Kingscote. And the number one place to visit on Kangaroo Island is of course the remarkable rocks Flinders Chase National Park. Alright, so we're about to jump on the ferry and head back over to the mainland. We're now about to leave Kangaroo Island. It's been a great couple of weeks we've spent here. Hopefully you've enjoyed our highlights of Kangaroo Island. We're about to head off on our next adventure, so join us for the next one.